The Israeli army said last night that there was a number of hits in the center of Israel and other hits in the southern region of the country. So the majority of the incoming missiles were intercepted by Israel and what Israel called a defensive coalition led by the U.S. On the other hand, Iran is saying, most of these missiles hit their targets. And we saw videos of some explosions yesterday in Israel. And it's clear that this attack this time around was very much different than the April one. Not as well telegraphed and more damaging, and a definite and a surprising escalation too.
Yes, surprising. And Israel has responded to this, at least verbally. What are the indications now of what may happen next?
Israel will respond. And Netanyahu said yesterday, and I was on your show earlier, saying Iran made a big mistake tonight and it will pay for it. And we saw an Axios report just an hour ago citing Israeli officials that Israel is looking for a significant retaliation, and it will be within days perhaps. So we also saw an image of Netanyahu yesterday, perhaps intentionally, sitting next to the director of the Mossad, whom Iran has blamed for the killing of Haniyeh in Tehran. Maybe Israel here is looking at targeting Iranian leaders. It's not explicit, but what we know is that Israel has committed itself for this retaliation against Iran itself, not the proxies or something else. So the retaliation will be against Iran and against leaders or infrastructure. And of course, we know that Iran has a lot of oil facilities and the nuclear infrastructure as well.
With that threat hanging now of a further reprisal attack, are there any moves on the diplomatic front to calm tensions in the region?
So we know the U.S., said it publicly, we hope Iran doesn't do this, but, the attack is coming. The U.S. has been taking on this diplomatic role, primarily because it doesn't want to be dragged in a war in the Middle East. It has interests there, it has bases there, and that could be very risky for them. It is not just a risk from Iran firing directly at Israel, but also proxies spread around to fire at U.S. interests and U.S. bases in the region. You have ones in Syria, ones in Iraq still. Even after the Israeli attack on the southern suburbs in Beirut, there were reports in local media that there was heavy deployment by the Lebanese army around the U.S. embassy there. So these interests are at risk because of the proxies, and the U.S. is trying not to drag itself into this war that is becoming more regional by the day.
Yeah. In terms of the response from Europe and the U.S., what are we expecting in the coming days? Israel has obviously also continued to attack these Hezbollah targets in Lebanon too. Is anybody in the region listening to those external international voices?
I don't think so. We saw Iran's foreign minister today speaking directly to European leaders, warning them not to get involved if Israel does respond, and it likely will. Iran here is trying to restore deterrence, right? It wants to be brazen. It wants to show it will and can respond to attacks and threats on its territory or on its proxy. And Hezbollah has been hit hard. It may have been okay not to retaliate immediately against the killing of Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran, but Hezbollah is the crown jewel of this proxy network that it has, trained and financed for decades, and it's not going to turn a blind eye to that, and is showing that now Israel is hitting home even more closely.